So create an account in Docker Hub. So first go to Docker Hub. So I think you would have done this yesterday. Docker Hub. So this is your Docker Hub. So if you don't have account, you can sign up, and those who have created your account can sign in directly. So go to sign in. So log in. So once you sign in, so this is how your Docker Hub looks like. This is how your Docker Hub looks like. So first click on create repository. Click on create repository and create a repository. So create a repository and write a short description which says, this is my first public Docker repo. So guys, if you observe what it is saying here, only one private repository you can create. So as this is like free account, you have only one private repository to create, but public repositories you can create unlimited. So we'll see first how to push to public repository. Later for private repository we'll use ECR. So select public, so your repository, and click on create. So repository will be created. After repository has been created, now launch your EC2 instance. So go to EC2 and launch your EC2 instance. Instances. So we'll name this instance as Docker EC2. Next, Ubuntu, go for 22.04. And key pair, and launch instance. We all instances. And for installing Docker community version, so you can go to my Docker Hub and you can make use of this DevOps installation. So in this I have created a repository called Docker. So in this Docker you can see how to install some Docker community version. So community version in the sense some enterprise edition which is not of domestic use, some organization level Docker. So you can just copy the commands and you can paste it. So the command which we have done yesterday, which is docker.io, it's a simple command where it won't support any architecture. See, like if you are pushing an image now, for Ubuntu and all, there is no problem. But if you are trying to use Amazon Linux or Red Hat Linux and all, no, this Docker which we have installed yesterday, it will not be supporting. So in order to make use also, we have to use community edition. So this is how you can install some community edition of Docker. So you can just copy down and paste. So copy, paste. So you can see the Docker CE. CE means community edition, which is like organization level usage. Okay, Docker is installed. So this is how you check this. So it is giving you some version, and you can check Docker -- version. So you can see the version of Docker which is installed. Now we'll create a Docker file. So we'll create a Docker file here. So vi Docker file, and let's use from nginx latest run ఇప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ అయ్యింది తెలియదు నేను తెలియదు. So removing if any existing files are there. Next, let's use run echo hello world, or else we'll ask ChatGPT to give some HTML syntax. Okay, we'll stop this here and create a index.html, paste the code, save and exit, and the Docker file. It's not run or echo, so let's use copy index.html /usr share /nginx /html and dot, and run service nginx restart, save and exit. So what is the command to convert the Docker file to Docker image? What is the command, guys? Docker build -t my image, and I will give v1 in the sense version 1 followed with a dot. So this will create a Docker image. So Docker image is created. How to check? Docker images. You see image has been created. So if you see yesterday, a base image is created, and on top of the base image your custom image has been created. But now as we are using community edition, it reduces the running of unnecessary images. So in the background a base image has been already created which will not be exposed, but on top of that base image our custom image has been created. Now we'll convert this into a container. First we will test the application. If it is working, then we'll push. If the application is not working, you have to work on it, make sure your application is running, and then you have to push it to Docker Hub or ECR. So if you don't properly check and push the image now, so in the production it will give you a problem. So before pushing, properly check the image and container whether it is working fine or not. So let's test the application. Docker run -d-p. So we'll give some any port number, or else if you want you can just give 80:80 also. So which means one port is a host port and other port is container port. So in simple terms, one is an external port and one is an internal port. So external port is your host port, internal port is your container port. So 80:80 I will give. So if you want the external IP or external port number, you can select any port number of your choice, but don't select already existing allocated port numbers like 8080, 3000, 9000, 8081, etc. So let's use port 8080 along with the name of the image and the tag, and check Docker ps. See, image has been created. So image has been created. So now let's test the image. So copy the public IP address and ping. Okay, application has been deployed. So now we'll push this to Docker Hub first. So if you wanted to push to Docker Hub, first thing is you need to create a tag for the image. You need to create a tag for the image. So how do you create a tag? Docker tag. So for which image you wanted to create a tag, give the image name along with your Docker Hub. See, this is your, see, first name is your username. So first is your username and next comes your repository name. So in this format you have to give. First comes your username. So in that user account you have a repository. So inside this repository, on what tag name you have to store. So my image v1. Okay. So don't get confused. I'm telling. So Docker tag, to which image you wanted to give a tag. So this will be the username of your Docker Hub, and next is your repository name of the Docker Hub, and next forwarded with the on what name the image has to store in the Docker Hub. So press enter. Tag will be created. So check Docker images for the tag. So this is your tag. So directly now use docker login -u, the name of the user, and it is asking for the password. So I think I forgot the username. Okay, once you correctly execute now, you will get login succeeded. So once after login is successful, docker push and the name of the tag. So we have to push this docker push, enter. So this will be directly stored in your public repository. So once you are comfortable with Nginx app and all, so later we'll switch to React app. So later we'll switch to React app. Maybe tomorrow we'll see how to deploy a React app in Docker. So image has been pushed. So check the image. So your image will be here. And if you go to tags, so this is your image, and if you wanted to download this image, to your local machines, you directly have an option called docker pull. So copy it and see, for example, I wanted to push it to my local, so this is my local server, and if I wanted to use this, so first I'll check docker images. Okay, docker daemon is not running, so let me start the docker engine. See guys, your image has been reflecting even in your Docker desktop also. So how to download this image? You can go to your local server and use docker pull. So I think the command I copied. So just copy the command and enter. So it will download it to your local machine. So even if you want, you can like pull the image, docker pull, and this is the image ID. So if you are running Docker now, you can directly pull, convert it into a container and test the application. So this is how you push your image to Docker Hub. Right? Now we'll see how to push the image to your ECR. The process is very simple, guys. In your AWS, navigate to ECR, Elastic Container Registry. So even in ECR also, you have private repository as well as public repository. Even in ECR also you have private and public. So you can switch which repository you want to have. So even though it is mentioned as a public registry or repository, the images which are stored even in public repository also will be secured. See, just like in Docker Hub, so its Docker Hub is an open source. So if you search the images here now, it will directly show the images. It will directly show the images. But whereas this ECR, you can't search the ECR for any open images. So for that you need to first log into AWS. Next you need to have some AWS credentials, IAM roles. So everything you need, even though it is public. So you can switch between private repository and public repository, and pushing to public and private is the same process. So same process you can follow. So I'll show you how to push the image to public registry. So later while you are practicing, you can use private registry. So first, public registry, create a repository first. So you can use any name and directly scroll down, click on create. Okay, it should not have any special characters. Click on create. Very straightforward step. And once you open this now, you have an option here, view push commands. So no need to do anything, just copy and paste these 3 commands, your image will get pushed to your ECR. So first you need to log in. So for this login, you need to add another layer of configuration, which is your AWS CLI installation. So how do you install AWS CLI? You can go to AWS CLI install. See, official website of AWS is available. And for which operating system you want installation, so select that, and you can click on this clipboard button. Commands will get copied and come to your EC2 machine or EC2 terminal. First install unzip. Install unzip. After unzip is installed, paste the commands from the terminal, from the website, and after installation use AWS configure. AWS configure. So it will be asking for access key ID. So where do you get that? Where do you get that access keys, guys? Where do you get that access keys, sir? Which service you will get access keys, sir? IAM. So go to IAM. And in the security credentials, click on my security credentials, and you can create access key, and you can create. I already have created some access keys, so let me use those access keys. So these are my access keys. And secret access key, and region, enter. So after AWS CLI is configured, there is a login command which is mentioned. So copy this login command, go to your terminal, execute the command. You need not to change anything, just copy paste it. You can be able to log in. Next, no need of second command because build we have already executed. Copy this third command and see what are the things which we needed to change here. So first check for docker images, paste the command. So what are the things which we needed to change? See, this is your local image. So is there any image in this name? You don't have any image in this name. So remove this and use the image which you wanted to tag. So this is not this itself. So this is the image. So this is the image for which I need to create a tag. And in the last, if you want it to be latest, you can use latest. But if you don't want it to be latest, no, just remove the latest and use my image v1. v1 in the sense volume 1 and enter. A tag will be created. So this is the tag. This is the tag. So directly use docker push and the name of the tag, enter. So the image will get pushed into your ECR. So pushed. Refresh. So you can see the image. And for pushing to private repository is also the same process. So if you want to push to private registry, so go to repositories. So there is already a repository which is created. Okay, so let me create a new repository. My first private repo. So in the image tag settings, there are two options here. So one is mutable and one is immutable. So mutable in the sense, the same image you can have multiple tags. So for the same image you will be having multiple tags like version 1, version 2, version 3, depends on the updates you do. If you select mutable now, so it will get stored in the form of versions, v1, v2, v3 like that. But if you select immutable, what happens? Even though if you try to push any new changes, the older image will get replaced with the new image. So if you wanted to access the old image, you cannot be able to access. So the best option is use mutable. And there is some encryption. So instead of going with the advanced encryption standard, go with AWS KMS. Go with AWS KMS and use AWS managed keys so that if any encryption keys are created, it will get stored in the AWS KMS. If you use customer managed, you have to create a signature. So let's go with AWS managed and with KMS and click on create. Repository has been created and even the push commands is available here. So these are the push commands. So we have already logged in. So if you wanted to log in again, no, copy this command, use this command, enter. So it will say login succeeded. And next you need to create a tag. So build we have already performed. So use this command and see what are all the things which you need to change. you need to change your image name. So the image is nginx my image 1. So it shouldn't get saved as latest. So if you want, like, you can give a new name, new image v1. The tag will be created. See, this is the tag, and use docker push and the tag name, enter. So pretty straightforward execution. So you need not to struggle anything. So everything is there in the commands itself. So close and refresh. You have this image. So if you wanted to download these easier images, click on the image and you have this URI. So you can copy this URI and you can execute. See, this is my local server. Use docker pull and the URI and enter. So the image will get downloaded. So I don't think so this will download, because this is a private image. See, if you're trying to download any private images, see what it is asking. Authorization failed, no basic authorization credentials. So full access denied. So from private repository, it is always some proper tokenization. And now see what happens if you wanted to download a public registry. So repositories, you open the image, copy the URI, and for this docker pull and paste the URI. Some error. See, even though it is public, for downloading the public image, it is asking some credentials. So I logged in and then I started to pull. The image has been downloaded. So check the images, docker images. So you can see this image which we have downloaded. See what it is saying, created 55 years ago. Actually the base image which is created now, so that image may be created. I'm also not sure why it is 55. Because Docker itself was is are invented maybe some 20 years ago, I think, but I don't know why it is showing 55 years.